Sandeep is about to undertake a great challenge, running 26.2 miles in the Pune Marathon. In order to run well over this tremendous distance, Sandeep needs a continual supply of oxygen and nutrients to be delivered to his different body parts such as the brain, stomach and the muscles of his body. For this to happen, blood must circulate throughout Sandeep's body continuously. The task is accomplished by a network of parts that extend throughout our body known as the circulatory system. As Sandeep runs, his circulating blood accomplishes vital tasks within his body. The circulatory blood delivers oxygen to the working muscles and then transports nutrients and waste to the proper places. It also removes heat from the body and lastly dilutes and carries away lactic acid, which is a byproduct of exercise. But how does it work? Like all systems, the circulatory system is made up of parts that interact. In this case, the parts consist of the heart and the blood vessels. The heart is the primary muscle that pumps blood throughout the body. Blood vessels are specialized pipes that blood travels through. The largest blood vessels are called veins and arteries, which branch off into smaller blood vessels. Veins carry blue blood without oxygen. Arteries transport red blood that holds oxygen. As you can see, arteries branch off into smaller pipes called arterioles. These branch off into still smaller pipes called capillaries. Teachers, please coordinate this activity with your class. Group the students in appropriate groups in order for several teams to do this activity. Give each group a sheet of paper big enough for a person to lie down on. Have one student in each group lie down flat on the paper with palms open and arms and legs fully extended. Have one group member trace the student's body, outlining it with a pencil so that when he or she gets up, you have a body outline on the paper. Once the form is completed, using your anatomy and life science references, draw the key parts of the circulatory system within this body outline. Include the heart, lungs, and major veins and arteries. Draw them branching into increasingly smaller blood vessels. Include some major muscles and draw capillaries connecting with these muscles. This will not be completely to scale, but is important to represent. Once this is complete, draw arrows that show the flow of blood from heart to lungs and back to the heart. Draw arrows to show the flow of blood from the heart to the body and back to the heart. Color the blood going from the body to the heart and from the heart to the lungs blue. Color the blood going from the lungs to the heart and from the heart to the body red. Let's take a close look at Sandeep's heart, which is the central hub of his circulatory system. As you may know, the heart is a muscle in itself, and a powerful muscle at that. The heartbeat is caused by contractions of the heart that pump blood throughout your body. The heartbeat can speed up or slow down its pumping based on what the brain tells it to do. The rate at which blood flows depends on how much the body parts need at a given time. As Sandeep runs the race, his body needs more oxygen than it would if he were inactive. As a result, his heart beats faster and blood circulates through his body at measure the number of beats per minute by taking your pulse. This can be done with your radial artery or carotid artery. Your pulse indicates how fast your heart is beating. The faster the pulse, the quicker the flow of blood throughout your body. When you exercise, your pulse rate speeds up. If a runner trains well, his blood flows quickly and efficiently throughout his or her body so that his muscles get enough oxygen. When a trained athlete stops exercise, his or her pulse will return to normal more quickly than in an untrained athlete. Students, now let's do an exercise. The first thing you will do is to get your resting pulse rate. To do this, put your hand on your neck, that's the carotid artery, or your wrist, which is the radial artery, and take your pulse. Do this by counting the number of beats for 10 seconds and multiplying it by 6. Alternately, you can count for 20 seconds and multiply the number by 3. Either of these methods will give you the number of beats per minute. When you have obtained a number, record it on a data sheet. Next, students, let's run in place for 2 minutes, speeding up towards the end. Then do 30 jumping jacks. Take your pulse again right after the exercise and record the data. Be sure to indicate when it is taken. How did your pulse rate change? Why? Take your pulse again after 2 minutes of rest and record the data. Be sure to indicate when it was taken. How did your pulse rate change? Why? Very good. After 20 minutes of rest, take your pulse and record the data. Be sure to indicate when it was taken. How did your pulse rate change? By sending electrical signals to each other, they expand and contract in perfect synchrony, producing the beating of the heart. Here, you can see that deoxygenated blood enters the heart from below through the inferior vena cava. It enters the heart from the above through the superior vena cava. The heart then pumps this blue blood to the lungs. At the same time, blood that has been filled with oxygen is red and begins its journey from the heart to the rest of the body by traveling out through the aorta, which branches into the that when blood has oxygen, it is red, and when it does not have oxygen, it's blue. In addition to pumping red blood with oxygen through the body. The heart receives blue blood from the body and pumps it into the lungs. Your breathing consists of a regular rhythm of alternately inhaling air into the lungs and exhaling air out from the lungs. When you breathe, oxygen enters your body through your nose or your mouth. It travels down the trachea, which branches off into smaller pipes called bronchi. These branch off into smaller pipes called bronchioles, which end into small sacs called alveoli. So you can see that the lungs are where gas exchange takes place. Around the trachea, blue deoxygenated blood travels through the pulmonary vein. The pulmonary vein branches off into smaller branches, which in turn branches into capillaries. These capillaries make contact with the alveoli. When blood reaches the lungs and receives oxygen at the interface between the capillaries and the alveoli, it also drops off carbon dioxide, which you exhale. It leaves as red blood, traveling first through the capillaries and then through the pulmonary arteries back to the heart. Like an intricate traffic pattern, our blood flows inside our bodies and knows exactly what to do. The blood itself is made of plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Red blood cells are the components in the blood that carry oxygen. After leaving the aorta, the blood travels through arteries, then through smaller pipes called arterioles, and finally the capillaries. When it reaches the capillaries, it provides the body's tissues with oxygen. The thinnest blood vessels are when blood becomes oxygenated, it turns red. This is because hemoglobin, a special molecule on the red blood cell, changes shape and turns red when it grabs onto oxygen. Just as our body's digestive system extracts the nutrients from fresh fruits and vegetables, a network of arteries provides oxygen and nourishment to the muscles of the heart. As the blood passes through the body's tissue, the hemoglobin releases the oxygen to the cells. The empty hemoglobin molecules then bond with the tissue's carbon dioxide or other waste gases, transporting it away. Running a marathon can take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. But because Sandeep has trained for this race, running many miles each week, his circulatory system has been trained to handle this long and arduous challenge. Sandeep's heart muscle is strong and can pump blood through the body efficiently. His veins and arteries have very little cholesterol and fat buildup that may otherwise keep blood from flowing. Steady speed for a long time, and when he stops exercise, his pulse rate drops quickly. This is because his heart is so strong. It does not need to beat very fast to get sufficient amounts of blood to circulate and enough oxygen to be delivered. After miles of training, his muscle cells are trained to use the oxygen they receive very efficiently. As a result, his muscles move quickly over long periods of time and are resistant to fatigue. The lactic acid and the buildup of lactic acid in the muscles can cause pain and tightness and keeps them from working efficiently. But as his blood flows through into the capillaries and exchanges chemicals with the muscles, it clears out the lactic acid so that the muscles can operate well. The blood also delivers nutrients to his muscles. Everybody breathes all day, every day. Why? First, answer this question based on your current knowledge. Then, discuss each of the following questions to develop a more complete understanding of why and how we breathe all day, every day. How long do you think you can hold your breath? Now, take a deep breath and hold your breath as long as you can while someone in your group times you. Be sure to hold your nose while you hold your breath. How long did you hold your breath? How do you think that your brain detects when you should not hold your breath any longer and you must start breathing again? What signals might stimulate your brain to make you start breathing again even though you are trying to hold your breath?